We'll do it live.
Says we are live. Live.
Oh my gosh.
Hello. Welcome. Is Vetter your first name? There was just an earthquake.
Was there?
Where?
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, where at? No, this guy, or Vetter said there was just an earthquake.
Where?
I don't know. Anza. Anza, California. ANZA, it says.
Oh, I have no idea where that is.
Where is that? North?
A 4.6. It's 68 kilometers northeast of Escondido.
Oh.
4.6. That's. Oh well.
All right. Is that near you, Vetter?
That's nowhere close to me.
Yeah, but this person that we're talking with, in Riverside, it says, he said. Didn't feel it just south of Escondido, someone said.
Yeah.
All right. We'll wait for a few more people, and then we'll talk about our topic tonight, which won't be earthquakes, I don't think. Didn't feel it.
You know, if more people don't show up, we'll send bigger earthquakes.
Yeah. Um, 5 people so far. Welcome, everyone. Do we sound okay? Everything's good? Will it be okay? You guys can hear us and obviously see us, but can you hear us? Loud and clear. Oh, hey, Teresa. Thanks. Teresa is the one that put up the stuff on our social media for us.
That's cool. I like that.
Christine's here. Hello.
Hey.
Bit of a latency with Ken. I think it's just because we're in different locations.
That's too bad. I'll have to fly out there.
All right. Every time we do it, right?
I'm gonna ask people to guess which attraction I'm gonna impersonate.
They're just now seeing it. There's a little delay.
Yeah.
That might give you a hint of what we're going to talk about tonight. We're waiting for a few people, and we'll get started. Yeah, we're not going to talk just about that, but we are going to talk about Tomorrowland.
Tomorrowland.
So,
It is Adventure to Outer Space, that is for sure.
Cool. So I thought we'd talk about Tomorrowland and talk about maybe what changes you guys would like to see and what so they've already kind of started on Tomorrowland, it seems like, in the entrance. So we wanted to see what you think, what they're hinting at, and maybe what you would like to see there, and maybe just throw out some ideas and we'll discuss it. So whoever wants to start with that, I think that there's been a lot of discussion. Some people, and remember, before Galaxy's Edge, they wanted to do. There was talk that Galaxy's Edge. Well, I don't know what it's going to be called, but like the Star Wars Land was going to be in Tomorrowland. Obviously, that didn't happen, but maybe more of a retro. Some camera guys said, I am a fan of Discoveryland idea, especially after visiting at the Disneyland Paris.
Yeah.
So that seems like is that kind of what they did with the 98 a little bit, Ken? I mean, that's
a little bit. Yeah. They were taking a little bit of inspiration from Discoveryland. I think for me, it would depend on if we're ever going to get a third park in Anaheim, because if we got a third park, if there could be future world elements in there, that frees up Tomorrowland. I mean, what was Tomorrowland originally? Walt was an optimist, and he interested in the future and interested in technology. But I think once you get a whole park or a whole, half of a huge park dedicated to futurism, then it becomes, it kind of frees up Tomorrowland to be more fantasy or retro or, what have you.
Yeah. They're kind of stuck now because technology just keeps moving ahead. By the time they design something, it's already past it.
Also, if so much of the technology is stuff that happens in the palm of your hand, how do you make an exciting attraction about that?
Right. So Christine said, I think they should resurrect rocket rods with the proper budget to build what Tony Baxter actually designed.
Yeah. Oh, and of course, bring People Mover back. That's obviously a form of mass transit. It's kind of hard to beat the Walt Disney World version of the People Mover. It's so smooth and
yeah. I don't know. It would be good if they had a People Mover. I always thought, what if they built some type of People Mover that went from Tomorrowland to Galaxy's Edge?
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe some sort of connection there. Okay. What do you think about that? I mean, I think I was saying that last time we were there. Like,
if I'll be right back. If you're gonna leave, you got to get your hand stamped. No. If you plan to leave today and re-enter, you need to have a valid passport and a hand stamp.
Yeah. Well, so what do you think? Do you think Space Mountain is untouchable? Something that they wouldn't take out?
What do you think, folks? I have my opinions, but let's see what other people say.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, I think there's untouchable from a story standpoint,
Yeah.
and there's also untouchable from a practical standpoint. You know, if something was just opened like 5 years ago, unless it was a total flop, you're not going to tear it out because it's got to be you want it to just kind of ride out for a while.
Right. Unmovable but untouchable.
Unremovable. In other words, maybe you could do something with it.
Yeah, yeah. I think, of course, that's what I meant. Like that they wouldn't remove it. Um,
You can take out the auction scene.
but yeah, well, they could do anything. They could demolish the
Well,
whole place. But
Christine's right. You need to make sure that replacements are better than what you take away. And there's also, people say, well, gee, get rid of the Utopia, and I can see that. But the thing about the Utopia is that it allows kids to control something and pilot something. And if you take that out, you need to have something else in the park that kids can do that they get excited about that they normally don't get to do out in their daily life. Like some sort of control, like maybe it's a spaceship that they can control, something.
yeah,
You know.
I mean, they could make Space Mountain more like the one in Paris, I guess, with the loop inside. I don't know if that's something they would do in a Disneyland park or not, though.
Yeah, when you consider the coasters that Disney has built in recent years, I think they're all coasters that use a long train on them as opposed to smaller shuttles, right? I mean,
Yeah,
think about Rock and Roller Coaster and California Screamin', which is now the Incredicoaster,
yeah,
and of course Space Mountain or Discovery Mountain or whatever it's called at Disneyland Paris. You don't see coasters being built like the Matterhorn or Space Mountain, where you have so many vehicles dispatched out on the track at once. With the train, you have three or so trains out there at maximum. It's easier to control, I think. We look at Expedition Everest.
yeah, yeah.
Well,
I mean, do you think that I know that a lot of people mentioned Utopia as something that they would like to see go, but I still think Utopia has a place in Disneyland Resort, maybe not Tomorrowland.
yeah.
What do you guys think about all this? Chime in if you can with the chat down below. There should be a live chat option there. I mean, they could do Utopia like electric and move it to Cars Land.
They should adapt the People Mover track to the Utopia so that you drive up onto the People Mover track.
Yeah. I don't know. Then there's, let's see here. I like Utopia even as an adult. Takes you to simpler times. I do like the electric idea, considering that's the new big thing right now.
Yeah. Yes.
And then we're getting some text in here. How about a friend texted me that's watching that can't do the chat here, said, how about the old Tomorrowland 2055 concept? What is that, Ken?
I love that. I love that concept. I've got I should go get my jacket. It's a couple feet from me right now in a closet.
What is it?
2055 was the concept that they were originally tossing around they were going to build it in 1992.
Mm-hmm.
And it was going to be on the premise that it's Disneyland's 100th anniversary and other planets are sending gifts. There would be little spaceships all over the area. Like when they did Critter Country, they put little critter houses around.
Yeah.
And in Tomorrowland, there'd be little spaceships here and there. Plus, I think the Carousel Theater might have looked like a giant spaceship. They were going to have... Yeah, there was going to be an alien language on the signage. Where did we end up seeing that? We saw that in Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
But the Carousel Theater would have been a traveling musical show. Plectu's Fantastic Galactic Review, they called it.
Mm.
And of course, where Pizza Planet is now, that had been Mission to Mars that was going to be adapted into Alien Encounter, which they actually installed over in Florida in 1984.
I like that, yeah.
Very scary attraction. They were going to keep Space Mountain and Star Tours. They were going to put in the film that Walt Disney World got and was made for Disneyland Paris at Circle Vision.
Yeah.
From time to time, they call it Timekeeper at Walt Disney World. So that was the basic premise. And there was going to be there were going to be walkways up on the second level of Tomorrowland. It was going to be just a major undertaking, and then they decided that they had to cut back.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well,
but they did make jackets for the team. They made buttons and watches, and if you're a collector, you might see them out there somewhere.
Christine said Launch Bay should be torn down, and we should get a Tron coaster different from the other parks. Ours should stay inside the building.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's enough room in there, but they could probably do something with Autopia and then do that. I guess they could do like Fantasyland Autopia and move some of it over, more of it that direction.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know if they'd ever put Tron. I like the idea that I like the idea that you said it'd be different, because I don't like the idea of something being the same on each coast, but I don't know if they would do that.
Well, when there's a duplicate, it's just it's less incentive. It's less incentive to go do it over.
Yeah.
You want to make things different enough. I understand
Cheaper.
Why they want to. It's easier to build two of everything, than do something different. But still, you want to make things different enough. We're not living in the age where, I guess right now we are. We're all sheltered in place, but it's very easy to fly across the country usually.
Yeah.
So it's not like the old days where nobody from California is ever going to see the Walt Disney World version, and nobody from Florida is ever going to see the California version. It's not how it works.
We're not going to see any version right now. So, what about the subs? What do you think of the future of that? You think it's short-lived soon here?
See, I think they could.
Hey, Deborah.
I think they could bring back the People Mover, right? And then over there by you station it over by the subs. You've got a different Autopia. You've got the monorail. You've got the subs, and this is where you do the World of Motion concept that they replaced at Epcot Center. You have all these different forms of transportation out of there, and you try to tie them into the future. You make it a travel port there. You've got the subs, you've got the everything else. So,
all right. Well,
if they remove the subs, doesn't the Matterhorn collapse? What?
That's what I heard.
Rumors. Well, one thing's for sure: you can't tear up the subs and remove them entirely without affecting the Utopia, because the Utopia does
Yeah.
rest on top of the subs very cleverly.
Yeah. A lot, actually, right? I mean, it's a pretty big building in there.
Yes.
Some camera guy, I think the subs are a tough one. They're an awesome concept, but how do they keep it Tomorrowland themed? I thought they should have reenacted as Fantasyland. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, they got Nemo. They could go through and see the Little Mermaid. Mm.
Well, yeah. I mean, how long is that Matterhorn going to be there? I mean, it's pretty old, right? I'm not saying
It's
it's down, but I mean, it's literally falling apart. What are they going to do about
it requires constant maintenance, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what this whole closure is about. We're gonna go back and the Matterhorn's gonna be gone.
Yeah.
It's all a ruse to remove the Matterhorn.
So no one can protest.
That's right. And the Walt Disney Story in Lincoln, those will be gone too. Yeah.
A lot of people say they want the rockets back on top, but I don't know.
You need to do some construction to do that. You can do it. It's gonna take some work.
I don't think I think that building that they have in the middle needs to be taken down.
Yeah. Agreed.
Because the rockets they rebuilt, the Astro Orbiter, is different. It's different. It's bulkier. It's bigger. It has more components to it.
Yeah.
They couldn't add that to the top. It does have an elevator, so that's. Let's hear from you guys. What do you think? Tomorrowland, anything? What would you like to see come, go? Anything like that?
I want them to bring back the Toy Story Funhouse.
Well,
Was there?
Yeah.
It was there in 1996, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, in Star Tours, how long is that going to stay in the area, right?
Star Tours?
Yeah. I mean, I like the attraction.
It doesn't fit with it doesn't really fit with Galaxy's Edge, though.
No, they can't move it there, I don't think.
It's an airport, unless you change the entire premise of it, because right now it's supposed to be like an airport. It's supposed to be like a futuristic airport in an established society that's functioning normally, whereas Galaxy's Edge is supposed to be this rough and tumble outpost where things are kind of lawless a little bit.
Yeah.
Goodbye, Mickey Harmaging.
Is that Disney World though, right?
Well, they have a version of it at California Adventure.
I know, but I think she's referring to the one Disney World. I always thought a throwback, not quite to Jules' first time, but to the early days of what people in the 50s, 60s thought Tomorrowland would be like Jetsons style. That would be good. A 60s looking Tomorrowland.
Yeah. Future from the 50s is a good concept because with today's technology, you could actually make some of that stuff a reality that people were kind of thinking about in the 50s. Yeah, and if you make it more of a science fantasy or a science fiction thing, it frees it up from having to always constantly be, we've got to predict the future. Well, that's why I say, like, if you get a future area in a third park, like if you built Westcott or whatever as a third park, that would free up Tomorrowland to be something else, to be science fantasy or science fiction.
Hmm.
I don't know, just something to think about.
Then we have Buzz Lightyear. What do you think of that? You think that should stay? I think that Buzz Lightyear. I mean, I think they threw anything that was space related into Tomorrowland. It seemed like, and they got to do something with the theater because I think showing preview movies is just a cheap way of. Well, for them, it's a cheap way of advertising. But
Yeah, the Magic Eye Theater. Yeah, they need to do something with that.
yeah,
I mean, simple 3D movies were pretty popular in theme parks for a while, but now that you actually have people have theaters in their near their hometown that are 3D, it has to be if that's what it's going to stay, it's got to have a lot more to it.
yeah.
All the in theater effects and stuff like that.
Yeah, I think Buzz is good for all ages, but yeah, it needs. I mean, I think it's still fun to do, but that little at the end when they have your picture and you put your email, you have to put your email. The picture is the worst I've ever seen. It's so small, and you can't even pick out the people in it. There's got to be better technology now. Right?
Hey, that's state of the art technology.
It's the worst. It's like 2005, 15 years ago.
Yeah. Well, after they get the Spider-Man attraction, it's going to be kind of like how I don't know. Buzz Lightyear might seem even more outdated after the Spider-Man attraction, provided they're actually going to complete it. I think they will, but it's well underway. So why not?
Who knows now? Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be delayed till either the first of the year or around the holidays, which might be good to get some people out of Disneyland into DCA around the Christmas time. People are dropping off.
Well, maybe they want you to grab one of those books behind you and start reading to them.
Yeah. Story time with Lynn. And we don't.
Dolly Parton has nothing on you. You can just read stories to people.
Yeah, and we don't have to keep talking about Tomorrowland. If you guys have any other questions about anything Disneyland related, that's cool too. Yeah.
I can do my attraction impersonations again.
Yeah, that would get more people.
If I just let my whiskers grow out more, I could do like the Country Bear impersonation. Oh, good. Vetter's back.
Yeah, now we can continue.
Deborah's in Tampa.
She's from Florida, yeah. Yeah, I love the Country Bears too. I wish they should put that in Tomorrowland. No.
I'm telling you, California Bear Jamboree.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I can see it now. They need the San Francisco part of DCA is just pathetic. All right.
Yeah.
They need to do a whole big San Francisco with a Haight-Ashbury district, and they can have the country bears there, but they're hippies.
Yeah. I know. It's too short.
All right. So some camera guy's asking, I actually did have a question. Ken, you mentioned on the podcast a sign that had a typo in it. Can't remember where. Was there anything interesting to that story of why it was never fixed? Um, I think I think they didn't fix the sign because they were cheap. I mean, it was a backstage sign, so it wasn't something the guests are going to see, and it was at Carnation Plaza Gardens, and it was an engraved sign. And I went back, you go back there and it says carnation. It's supposed to say carnation,
Oh
but it
yeah.
says carnation. What in carnation is that? Um, yeah, so I guess I just figured since it was backstage, what's the point? I mean, they get enough stuff on stage that gets misspelled. I mean, to me, it'd be kind of like a landmark. Like, put that over by the carnation sign. Yeah, especially having it on stage would have been. I think that what would have prevented that from lasting is that it was Carnation would have complained. It wouldn't just be Disney. It would be somebody they're doing business with would complain. So then it would definitely have gotten changed quickly.
What is the worst mess you've seen while working?
I,
I don't know. Do people really want to hear it?
are any of you eating right now? I think we cover some of that in chapter 5 of Cleaning the Kingdom: Insider Tales of Keeping Walt Stream Spotless. Um,
I don't know. Yeah.
There was one. I was in Inside Indiana Jones. There's a there's like a double set of double doors, so like 4 doors in the rotunda.
Oh yeah.
Like when you've ridden the ride and you're leaving, and you're in the rotunda right before you start going into the little, the tunnel to walk out. Somebody had like tried to hide in a corner there. They must have just had digestive issues because it was just a big mushy pile of excrement. It was just a big old pile of it that was kind of liquidy. So that was a big issue, but that wasn't the. I still don't consider that the worst. The worst one, and I do detail it in the book, is on the Mark Twain. There was a lady who I think she was up on the top deck wearing shorts, and she had.
Oh no.
Yeah, and she walked down. She walked down the steps, and she was touching the wire mesh that surrounded like the boiler area, and she got it all over that the wire mesh. I had a guy with me to help me clean up, and he's gagging, and I'm like, just try to stay away from it and breathe through your mouth. You don't want to smell it.
Probably my worst was probably a finger painting in the restroom stall, but not with paint.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. I mean, both of us are fortunate that we weren't like at the Columbia accident. That would have been like the worst.
Yeah.
I mean, we know people who were there. But Vetter's asking when we're going to come down to Disneyland again. Well, I can go down there now. They'll probably escort me away, but when are we going to Orlando? That's a good question. I mean, well, as far as Disneyland, we had been planning. Well, we were going to be at Disneyana in May, but that got canceled. So
it got moved to October. So
yeah, they're going to have an October thing, hopefully. But as far as Orlando, when are we going to go to Orlando?
I don't know. When I win the lottery.
I don't know. If enough people are interested, concierge will probably send us there. Yeah.
Maybe, yeah.
Concierge let's put it this way: concierge would love to put together something in Orlando involving us, but
Yeah, they
it's
want.
it would only be worth it if enough people would participate, so it's kind of difficult. I'm in Anaheim. I've got a wife and 2 kids, and Lynn's in Utah. So it would be traveling, you know.
Yeah, I don't know about Orlando, but I know that Disneyland, I mean, I'm there a few times a year. Ken's there at least once, twice a year, maybe. Maybe. We had a good time last time, so I know we said we wanted to do that again. It may not be for the Mice Chat Gumball Rally, but we definitely do something.
What was our ranking for that?
We were unranked.
We were unranked. Oh, wow.
Christine asked, which of the other parks would you go to next? For me, it would be Paris.
That's a tough one, Christine. Do you want to answer it first, Lynn?
Oh, I think Tokyo. For me.
Yeah, I studied French in high school and college, and I had toyed with the idea of actually going there for the opening, but I was working at Disneyland by then, and it would have been very difficult to get the time off because it was opening around spring break, I believe. So I really would like to see Paris. Tokyo would be good too. Going to Tokyo would be great. Of course, in Tokyo you have 2 great parks.
Yeah.
The second park in Paris isn't so great yet. I mean, they're gonna work. They might work on it.
I always hear that the Disneyland in Tokyo is like Disneyland in the 80s. California Disneyland in the 80s. That's what people say. It has that feel to it, which makes sense. I mean,
Yeah.
kind of like
I mean,
Epcot.
I'd really like to go to Shanghai and maybe try the vending cart bats.
The what?
Never mind. Never mind. Vetter wants to know. He wants us to take the back way into Disneyland. Well, you see, I've been working on a tunnel. I live in Anaheim. I've been taking a spoon and I've been, digging out a tunnel, and eventually I'll get there.
Yeah.
So, but don't tell Disney because it'll be my cheaper way in.
He said, some camera guy said, I was not impressed with Disneyland Paris as I was hoping to be. Granted, I was there this past December and it was raining and ice cold. I hope to see some improvements now that Disney fully owns it.
Well, when you were there, like Phantom Manor probably wasn't open, right? I mean, I think that was under refurb when you were there. So, and that's one of their really impressive attractions.
Yeah, I heard Paris does a lot of refurbs. Just they don't care. They'll just take three of the rides down at the same time.
Yeah. Oh, it was open. Okay.
Oh, Topia was closed.
Deborah can't leave. See, if they had built it in England, they could have done the Utopia, but had it on the other side.
Yeah. Christine, Paris has things I would love to see. Their castle with the stained glass, Terry Hardin's dragon, and Phantom Manor, and the Vincent Price narration.
The Vincent Price narration, yeah.
Deborah's gonna watch a Disneyland Paris video.
Deborah's going to go watch a Disneyland Paris video. All right.
Probably more entertaining. Um, I'm a huge Haunted Mansion fan. Had high hopes for Phantom, and it actually felt a lot cheaper than I thought it would be. I don't know. Maybe I just hit it at a bad time.
Wow. But it's the Elvira animatronic that's like the best part of it, right?
What? The dragon was inaccessible. Close for refurb.
Oh,
Ryan.
pull pranks on new sweepers. Oh my gosh, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, I would there's a woman I'm Facebook friends with her to this day, and she reminded me of this where she's relatively new and she's waiting for me to meet her back at the locker, back where we rendezvous, because she's fairly new. And I come back. This must have been on Main Street. And I come back and I go, I have a present for you. And she goes, really, a present? And I go, yeah, grab your pen and broom. And so she's thinking like I literally have a present for her. But then she found out I was taking her to a horse dropping cleanup. I refer to those as presents from our horses. But the one of the things I would do is when I was going to go back and meet a new cast member, they go and tell us, could you meet so and so because they're new to the area? So sometimes I would hide my name tag and I would go back there and I would like start looking around like this, and I would ask the guy, hey, have you seen the foreman? Have you seen the lead? And be like, no. And I go, oh, you ever worked with this guy before? And they'd be like, no. Oh, this guy's a real tough guy. Oh my gosh, he's a tyrant, And then I would like turn around and put my name tag on, and then I would turn back and go, hi, I'm the lead. I just want to point out how important it is to wear your name tag. So that was one of the pranks I would do.
I did this one with there was a small cast member. She was really small. I can't think of her name now, but she was very tiny, and I had a new cast member that was checking flower beds and trash cans. At the end of the night, you pull up the cans and sweep out the trash cans from trash that didn't make it into the liner. So this new cast member was going around doing that, but I told her to go over there. I took the liner out, and she hid inside the trash can. And when he went to put his hand through the flap to open it up, she grabbed his hand.
Great stuff.
Yeah.
Vetter's calling me a rascal, and yet,
yeah.
I would do things. I would just like walk up to people that I worked with and go, "Hey, are the rumors true?" And you never know what you're going to hear in response to that. It's like I was just messing with them. I hadn't heard any rumors, but that would get them talking. Like, oh yeah, I put in my 2-week notice and I'm leaving or whatever. But what you're asking, did we hear about the movies? I assume you mean the delays. The movies are being pushed back and delayed.
Yeah.
The Jungle Cruise movie, that's been delayed. It's tough because Disney, there's a reason why they were releasing movies when they're going to release them. Okay, Jungle Cruise is probably really one they really want to have in the summer, and they want to have it on a weekend where they know they're going to get a big audience. But with everything being closed down, it's like, well, do we release it, in the fall? No, let's try for next summer. It's tough. It's tough to figure all that out. But I'm sure the theater owners are just, I don't know why my light is strobing, but I'm sure the theater owners are going crazy. I mean, Disney's got Disney Plus to fall back on.
Yeah.
What was your
favorite?
Yeah, did you want to say something?
Favorite celebrity encounter? I remember seeing. Oh wow! I remember seeing I didn't have an encounter. I guess I did. I remember seeing Michael Jackson, but that was when I was not in Custodia. I was at the Plaza um, Pavilion that night closing, and he walked by with his entourage, and people went by. He was in the middle, and I went, "Oh, wow, that was." And then we've never really had the opportunity to talk to a lot of them. I talked to Kenny Loggins in the restroom once. I was cleaning the sink, and he
Yeah.
he was there doing a song. I think didn't he do a song for like Pooh or Tigger movie or something? And then, anyways, he was there for the 45th? They did a show for the 45th, and he was there taping. And anyways, he was in the plaza and restroom, and I was cleaning, and he said hi to me and asked how my day was. So, how about you, Ken?
Um, I would have to say if they're Disney famous, I mean, it's kind of hard to beat before he was. People really didn't know who Tony Baxter was when he and Bruce Gordon got us on Splash Mountain. I mean, that kind of hard to beat that. But I mean, I don't know if people would really count that as a celebrity. I got to talk to Mick Foley. If any of you know who Mick Foley is, he was a pretty accomplished professional wrestler.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
He was just Corey's watching us now. She invoked you. There she is. um, yeah, Keely would be jealous about Kenny Loggins. Um, Mick Foley was walking around by himself. He was just walking around, and he didn't want to pay for a plaid, so I got to say hi to him and kind of talk with him. Um,
Tony would count. Yeah, I still haven't met him yet.
yeah.
Ryan said also, I just finished your second book. Great read. I loved learning the history of the heads of Custodia. Cool. Thank you.
Corey, for some reason, the light is strobing in here, so I don't know why. But anyway, see.
Light bulb's going out.
Yeah, it's trying to give me seizures. Um, Thank you, Ryan, for saying such a nice thing about our book.
Yeah.
It's I really think that the company should have done something, themselves already, because the company has long talked about how great Disneyland Custodial is. And it just seems kind of strange there hasn't been a book about it. So we went ahead and did it. Um, so
Yeah.
we figure, hey, Custodial deserves its due, and so we put together those books for that reason. They're kind of like love letters to Disneyland Custodial.
Hmm.
So yeah, I think we kind of detailed some of our celebrity encounters in the first book.
Yeah.
Um, it's funny. One of the stories I do tell in the book is I met a couple of comedians who they themselves weren't that well known yet, but they used to be part of Sam Kinison. They were at the time they were part of Sam Kinison's entourage, and when I kind of described these guys to a friend of mine who was a big Sam Kinison fan, and he knew right away who I was talking about. And then the guys went on to make a bunch of appearances, like on the Howard Stern show and everything, and so they became more well known. Um, I don't know. You never know who you're going to bump into at Disneyland.
I saw Sylvester
Marty
Stallone.
I bumped into Marty Sklar more than once.
Yeah.
One time I bumped into Marty. I was going through the Adventureland restroom, and he was standing in the restroom waiting to use it. And I said, "Marty, you want to come backstage? You want to use a backstage restroom?" And he said, "No." He said he was going to use the onstage restroom. I'm like, all right. Yeah. Probably doing quality control.
Ryan asked, "Is Lynn drumming at the beginning of the podcast when the song is played?" Yeah, I'm playing drums on the theme song. Yes.
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 The Sweep Spot theme music.
That was my friend Ray, who I was in a few bands with. I asked him to write a song for our podcast, and he did. So he's a really good songwriter. And then he lives in California. He sent me the track, and then I added drums to it, and came out pretty good. Tomorrow you wake up and you are in charge of Small World. What would you do to update it? What would you do to make the ride more relevant to the youth of today?
I'd put in a loop.
A roof?
A loop.
Oh,
Have it go upside down.
a big drop in it? I don't know.
Anything you want to do to it, you're gonna get pilloried.
Yeah, I don't know. Was it relevant to the youth then? I don't know.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
Do you like what they did with the characters? Was that 2012 or something? They did that.
They put the Disney characters in, which was a highly controversial move. You know, so many people.
I don't think it took anything away.
Things have changed. They have changed it. They've changed it over the years, and then of course, every year when they put in the holiday version, it's a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what they could do to it to make it different that would improve it. I think one of the things about it now is that it's just kind of charming the way it is.
Yeah.
They're dolls instead of hyper realistic animatronics.
Yeah. Deborah said the one in Orlando, when it works, it calls out your name or wishes you a happy birthday. I guess they could do more like that with the rides in Disneyland. I know that doesn't DCA have more of a, well, it's because they have the magic bands, right? They kind of trigger off that, I think.
Yeah, the magic band does that. Yeah.
Yeah. Pirates does that.
It's something that they kind of got from the ET attraction at Universal. ET would say your name.
Do you guys think the classic Small World, Matterhorn, Haunted Mansion, Pirates, etc. are immune to the chopping block, or do you think in the right situation anything can be replaced? I think Haunted Mansion and Pirates are going to stay. I think the Matterhorn is not immune to it. Small World, probably not.
Well, we've already seen they're willing to expand the park rather than take out the old that old stuff.
True. Yeah.
It just depends. It depends on who's in management. That's one of the things.
Yeah. Did you ever have to clean the ride? Big Thunder.
Well, with Big Thunder, it was mainly when they'd pull a train right off to the side and they needed the train cleaned up.
Yeah. But maybe
as far as actually cleaning inside the ride, that was like a night crew thing.
Yeah.
And you might find cash someplace, or a ring, or something of that nature.
Well, we have about 5 more minutes, so if you have any last minute questions, is this the kind of show that you would want? Just random questions discussion, or would you like us to do? We could even do it like a show, but I just thought it'd be more casual to have this live streams kind of like a. Just I wanted to get you involved, the listeners, viewers, I guess you would say.
Yeah.
I think. Let's see. When did the custodial artists using wet rooms to draw characters become implemented into the parks? I think it started over. Didn't it start like in Tokyo or somewhere else, Ken? I don't. It didn't start in Disneyland.
The water art started, I think, Tokyo.
Yeah.
Because, frankly, the guests are really clean. So sometimes the custodial personnel, kind of wanted to do something else other than just walk around. So they started doing it there, and that's the other Disney parks started adopting that.
Yeah.
My wife approves of the show.
Oh, good. Some camera guy said he enjoyed being able to chat with you guys when I listen to the podcast. I often wish I could chime in. I hope this becomes more popular over time. Yeah, if you want this to become something that we do often, then get more people involved, and it'd be we enjoy doing it.
For those of you who came in late, I'm gonna impersonate
Deborah.
Impersonate an attraction again, and that's my impersonation of Adventure Through Inner Space.
Yeah, we're gonna. I think the plan was we're only gonna do this once a month, but I thought since everyone's on lockdown right now, we're gonna try to do it every other week. But we'll see what happens. Maybe not.
Yeah, thank you for being here, everybody. I mean, of course, we're happy to take your questions, Deborah, and everybody's locked down. It's kind of fun to be able to do something like this. What will the next week's podcast be, Lynn? This coming week?
I could say, but then something might happen.
You'll jinx it. Yeah. Like we had a plan this last episode, and that got changed. But I think the episode we did was very, very good. Disneyland 1990.
Yeah.
If you haven't listened to it yet, listen to it. It's a great episode.
We have a really good guest lined up. I just verified it today, and they will be joining us next week. It should be good. I think you will really enjoy it. Thanks, Vetter. Any last minute questions? We have 2 minutes. If not, we're gonna turn this off here and Ken.
Look into my eyes. No.
The great Skipper interview is David John Marley. Oh yeah, he has a book, right? Yeah, I gotta get in touch with him. We've had a few skippers on the show in the past, with Alex and Kyle. Right.
You know who I want to get on is Weird Al. We can ask him about writing the song Skipper Dan. That's what I want to do, is get Weird Al on there.
Well, now we have the most viewers and we're getting ready to leave. So thank you guys so much. Thanks, Vetter. We will have our show out next weekend sometime, and we will do this again maybe in 2 weeks. And hope you enjoyed it. Bye.
Now it's time to say goodbye.
Bye.
Bye bye. See you real soon.